Hello and welcome to your, I believe, fifth C# tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to work on variables, as you can see from the project name. And so just go ahead and create a new project, same way we've been doing. Create a console application, and we're going to work with the starter code that it gives us. We're not going to rewrite everything because I believe I've explained pretty much everything here, with the exception of namespace maybe, but we'll get into that soon. Um, so how do you create a variable? Or actually, what is a variable anyway? Well, a variable is used to store any kind of information that you want into memory. Okay, so in the RAM. Um, and you can create as many variables as you want, and you can store different information such as numbers and text, etc. And different object types when we get into object-oriented sort of C# side. But we'll get into that soon. But right now, I think what I'm going to do is, in this part, we're going to work with some variables that work with numbers, and in the next one, we're going to work with some variables that are text-based, so strings and characters, etc. Okay, so how do you create a variable? Well, the first thing you have to do is write the type of variable you want to create. So in this case, we want to create an integer, so we just simply write an int. And as you can read from the description, it represents a 32-bit signed integer. And there's a whole bunch of different types, as you can see here. You can explore those on your own. 64-bit, these are unsigned, etc. And signed, and the difference between signed and unsigned is basically an unsigned variable is it can only have positive values, and with the int, because as it says here, it is a signed integer. The values it can contain are they can be negative. Okay, and if you actually just Google it, Google the range of values for an integer, a 32-bit integer, you'll see it's like from negative like 2 billion to positive 2 billion or something like that. So it's pretty big. So now that we've created our variable type, what do we do? Well, we have to give it a name. Okay, so we can reference it throughout our application. And in this case, we'll just call it a number. And also another good thing is that you give your variables a value when you create them. Okay, so you don't have null variables, which I'll again explain more in detail. Because right now I can just press semicolon, that's done. It should build the program, and everything should be good. But it's good practice to initialize your variable. Okay, that's I guess the technical term is initialization of the variable. So in this case, we should set the value to something. So I'll just set it to why not 4? Okay, so it's very simple, just an equal sign and then 4, and then semicolon, and you're done. But right now it's kind of giving us this little warning that it's a sign, but value is never really used throughout our application. So let's just do something. First, we'll add a console.read at the end so it doesn't close. And so what we can do is simply print out the number on the screen, see if it works. So what you do this, how you do this is simply console.write, which we've worked with before, and simply pass in the name of the variable. And in this case, that's number. And just close that up, and it should be good. So you can probably tell what will happen. It should simply print out 4 on the screen, right? So let's run it, and there we go. It says 4. So what you can do now is do a bunch of different calculations on the number as well. You can change it, add, subtract, divide, multiply, etc. Do all sorts of stuff, and it's very simple. However, when you're setting the value of any kind of variable, really, first you have to give the name of the variable that you want to work with. So in this case, that's number. So we'll write down number, and then we say equals, and then we do, let's say we want to add 2 to the value of what number already has. So in this case, it's 4. So we can do 4 plus 2. that will give us 6. But if we change in number in place of 4, that will work too. Okay, so just like in regular math, it works. But there's one thing you have to sort of be careful about, is the way this whole thing is structured. Okay, so the name of the variable has to be on the left side. It cannot be on the right side of the equal sign. Okay, so if I try to actually change it, I'll show you. If I say number plus 2 equals number, for us it makes sense, because in math you can flip the two sides of an equation and it should work, right? But in this case it does not. Okay, so what the calculation or whatever you're doing is being assigned to, that has to come first, so to speak. So you have to say number equals 4 or whatever you want to do, and in this case we did number plus 2. So if you run it, and you simply press F5 to run, or you can just click here. I'll just press F5 from now. So if you run it, you should get 6. And just like that, you can do other things, subtraction. Let's see, a little multiplication. I can multiply it by 4, and if you run it, you'll get -2. So that's good, but I don't know if I mentioned it, but number actually, I'm sorry, integer can only have whole numbers. Okay, so it can only have either 0 or 1. It can't have 0.2. Okay, so no decimal numbers in there. So what we can do for that is actually use a different variable type. So if you're going to be working with a lot of decimal numbers, we work with what we call a double. Okay, and for the double, the keyword is simply double, and just the same way we work with integer, we write the name. In this case, we'll just call it number again. Give it some value. Let's say 0.5, and it'll work. So this same way, we'll print out 0.5, and we can do some math functions on it. I can say 2. That should give us 1. There we go. So that's that. Again, like I said, these are good for working with decimal numbers. They can work with just regular numbers. I mean, it doesn't have to have 0.5 or something. I can just put 1. It's not going to give me an error or anything like that. The only difference is doubles tend to take more memory in your program than integers and stuff like that. So I'm not really saying don't use doubles at all, but it's a good idea to only use these type of variables when it's necessary. Okay, so I can't really stop you from using doubles for everything. You can technically do that, but when you get into larger programs, it's a good idea to save memory, etc. So I think that's it for numbers. In the next one, we'll go over some text variables. Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.